All right, let's talk about first round pick Emmanuel Forbes last season, who had a rough rookie year for the Washington Commanders. He was selected ahead of Christian Gonzalez of the New England Patriots, and Gonzalez, got hurt after 4 games, but had a really strong 4 games. So, that's always going to be a little bit tough, especially when Forbes just did not have a great rookie year. He got benched at one point, and I think the defense did look better, but as a whole, the defense still did not look very good last year for Washington. And I think the question that a lot of Commanders fans have is, if you get him in a new scheme, get a new situation, we now have the Dan Quinn scheme, which isn't that different than the Ron Rivera scheme, but still, getting him with a new coach, is there a way to salvage this? And can he be, quote-unquote, fixed? Well, I wanted to, figure it out. So I decided to, watch some film from especially the past couple games, the last couple games he played in the NFL season, the last few games of the year, and just kind of, come up with an evaluation and figure out what he needs to do better at, what are his issues, all of that good stuff. Let's just get into it. So let's start off with something like this. It's going to be a man coverage concept, and you see the route on the screen that Forbes is in charge of covering. Okay, simple enough. It feels like it's not going to be the easiest route to cover, but, Jalen Tolbert's running the route, and with the kind of the cut more towards the sideline, it could be pretty dangerous. So relatively high degree of difficulty play here for Forbes. However, when it begins, I think Forbes is doing what we saw him do a decent amount of in college, which is not giving up a ton of separation. He currently is using his hands to, on Tolbert here in a way where it's not in a way that I would say is like a penalty or anything like that, just kind of using it so he knows where Tolbert is, that way when Tolbert cuts more towards the top of the screen, he'll be aware of that. Here's the issue with Forbes. When Prescott kind of throws it up, Forbes just does not do a good job at all of winning that 50-50 battle. I thought he put himself in a pretty decent situation, but it didn't matter. It was not a good job there of winning that. So that's step one, I think, is, you just got to get Forbes in position to win these battles more. It's good that he has his moments where he's not really giving up separation, but maybe that's something you practice, and maybe it's just something that there is an adjustment to at the NFL level of kind of figuring out that, hey, it's not like college where if you got someone covered, they're going to throw to someone else who was uncovered. At the NFL level, a lot of guys are covered. A lot of times you have to kind of throw one up like that. And also just understanding maybe how quarterbacks will think differently, will put the ball in different spots that college quarterbacks won't, all that stuff. I don't know, but that's definitely something that I noticed. Also, something I noticed, something like this, where you're going to see him getting ready to make a tackle right here, and this is just something you have to clean up. This is non-negotiable. He's going to have to clean this up if he's going to make it at the NFL level, is the tackling. You see on this one, he just whiffs on it completely. That doesn't even, really slow a player down that much even, which is not ideal. So that's certainly not good. Also, later on in the same game, you have this situation where it's just going to be, going to flip it out to a tight end right here. You see where Forbes is. He's coming in trying to make a tackle here. And again, it's going to be really, it's kind of juked out. I'm not sure if he touched Ferguson there. And listen, with all due respect to Jake Ferguson, there are players who are more shifty than Jake Ferguson. You're going to have to, if you miss a tackle, if you, create contact and the guy just runs by you, okay, that is what it is. There's only so much you can do, but you got to at least create contact. You got to at least slow the, ball carrier down enough that a teammate can come over and make the tackle if you miss it. He's going to have to get better at this. Don't get me wrong, he has his moments. Something like this is a good example of, I would say, a good moment where it's going to be just a wide receiver screen. Again, you see he's the one who I've circled in black. And this time you're going to notice that when the ball gets flipped out there, he does do a good job at, going over and making that quick tackle. Again, are these things that are fixable? I would say probably. Like I said, he has the physical skill set to make this tackle. It's more so just getting in position and actually being able to, create the contact, right? Because guys are kind of running by him. So it's possible that, again, giving him another full year, perhaps he sees these moves more and just kind of understands how to play them more. But still, it is something he's going to have to work on. And this play is another example of what he's going to have to work on. I would say my last big critique with Forbes. I do have some other little ones, but this one, it's a zone coverage play, and you see where he's covering. He's covering the flat towards the bottom of the screen. You got CeeDee Lamb on that side of the field. Okay, that's difficult. again, high degree of difficulty play here for Forbes, but they drafted him with the hopes of him being a number one wide receiver, and this isn't that high degree of difficulty play. You do have a safety over the top, so it's not like you're leaving him one-on-one completely on an island with Lamb. When this play begins, look at how much space Forbes is giving right here. I mean, this is a lot of space, which is, again, might be part of how it's designed. You see the Commanders corner on the other side of the field is kind of doing the same. He's giving up, he's about the same distance, down the field. Although what that corner is doing is in position to move in towards the middle of the field if he has to, move, in closer. Seems like Forbes is still going further deep right here. And, I mean, you look at CeeDee Lamb, he's already cutting. So it's not like, hey, who knows what's going to happen? He's pretty much already stopped. Because of this, it's just kind of an easy completion, and they're able to gain, 8 yards or so. And, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that's a devastating play. If that's your only weakness, you'd feel great about a player like that. But the issue is that you just kind of give up these easy plays. It's difficult. It makes things so much easier for an offense if you can get kind of an 8-yard gain here and there. Like this one's another one where it's, again, a one-on-one matchup. So, okay, simple enough. There's not really a lot of safety help here, so you kind of have to be aware of getting burned down the field. But again, just before the play has even started, you see how much space there is here. When Prescott takes the snap, this throw is kind of a bit off and maybe still could have been caught. Forbes did what he could closing on that one, I would say, actually. But, to me, this is another thing he has to work on is he's got great athleticism. He needs to trust it more. To be honest, this is something a lot of young corners that struggle early on kind of do, and often it can kill their development, is they get beat down the field, one time too many, and then say, well, I'm not letting that happen. I'm going to play 10 yards off every single snap. And when you do that, you're just asking for trouble. You're just asking for, easy completions. And then, when you give up the easy completions, sometimes then you cheat more underneath, and then you still give up the deep completion, even though that's not what you're trying to do. It's just not a winning strategy. And like I said, it's not like usually you see slower corners do this more. Forbes is not a slower corner. Forbes is fast enough to not have to do this. And that's that's just a critique I have with Forbes. And so, yeah, I mean, again, is he He's a work in progress. He's certainly a work in progress, and he certainly is still a project-type player. I don't look at him and say, well, might as well just trade him for a 7th-round pick if you can. It's over. There's reasons to believe he could get better, and I think in a new scheme, things could work. I mean, the one thing I would say is that Washington secondary had a lot of players who typically play pretty well, had career down years last year. And usually when that happens, I wonder if coaching had something to do with it. I just do. Again, how much can you fix this with coaching? I don't know. How much can you fix tackling? Maybe that's just kind of a thing that if you're bad at, you're bad at. I don't know. Or maybe it's something you can get better at. There are things that I think you can fix. I think you can have him play a bit more aggressive. I'm not saying have him play press coverage, and Dan Quinn won't do that, but Dan Quinn does rely on his corners a decent amount. And so for Forbes, if he's going to be an outside corner, he won't have to play that close, because if they're playing a lot of cover 3 zone, not all Dan Quinn likes to do, but if that's what they're doing, he won't, have to, on at least a decent amount of reps, have to do that. But there's still going to be other reps where you're one-on-one on an island. There's still going to be situations where he has to, cover someone one-on-one, and we'll see how he's able to do with that, and if they are able to mold him to be a complete player. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Forbes. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.